Greetings, Light Tribe. Janine Palmer here, Spirit Silver Moon for Harmony Energy Healing. And I want to do a talk about judgment. Okay, because my wise friend Isaac brought something up in comments, some dialogue on a post about it for a deeper understanding of it, because I think it can mean different things in different ways. Okay, so we could say judgment, the word judgment. We could use the word judgmental. We could use the word condemnation, which is what he said. So I think it's when it's used in a condemning type of a way. And for what reason? What purpose? Where does that come from? What energy does that come from? What unhealed wounds does that come from? Why do some people feel the need to lash out and to try to put someone else down? Where does that come from? Trace the roots back, the threads. If we can catch it in ourselves. Oftentimes we very much notice it in others and behaviors of others. Friends, loved ones, even people we don't know that well. We might notice that, and we might not notice it in ourselves. So if we do begin to notice it in ourselves, which is good, because then we can start to make adjustments to heal what needs to be healed. And as we are open to learning more, and gathering more tools and healing those parts of ourselves and strengthening those parts of ourselves, then things don't become triggers so much. Now, sometimes things are fuel. Like for me, I've been noticing where I've been becoming stronger in certain areas with things like that on the healing work that I've been doing. But there are things that I don't want to use the word provoke, but they're like fuel for the fire of the calling, of the passion, of the message, for the messenger. Something comes up and you're like, that's what I have to talk about. And this is why. Okay, so it means different things to different people who are at different levels of awareness or awakening or whatever that is. Okay, so when I would use the word and do use the word judgment a lot in the videos, in the writings or whatever, the way my friend was pointing it out, it's important to have awareness of that and definitely include it in the discussions more. That's why I'm doing this video. So there are judgments in that we might look at something and what that entails to us, at least at that time with the information that we have at hand, and make a decision with our free will choice. Okay, I see this and this. And what does that mean to me? And what am I going to do or not do? How am I going to react or not react or whatever? So that could be a type of a judgment, right? It's like determination, or determining what it is and what it means and what to do. And that could be called a judgment. So we're making a judgment call. It's like, I see this obstacle in the road and I can go this way or I can go that way. We have to make that call, that judgment, whatever. So there's different types of judgment where we might see someone in a particular behavioral pattern and we say, you know what, I'm not even going to respond or react to that. I'm not going to hang around you because of your negative, lower vibrational energy, or because you're so reactionary, or because you're so wounded, because you're so nasty to other people or whatever. We can make a judgment call that I can see there's woundedness there and I don't want to hang around that person. It doesn't mean we're putting them down because of it. It means I don't want to allow that into my space. So that could be considered a judgment that isn't for manipulative purposes or something. Okay, and then there's the type of judgment which I think it'd be more careful to call it judgmental. Okay, or even, as my friend said, it's more of a condemnation, where some people want to stick their nose in, basically, somewhere and find fault and attempt to put it down. And why do they do that? So the videos the other night were of the royal wedding, and there was an article that was, I think it was trying to pick apart the sermon that was given about love. Love is different things to different people. If anyone's ever talking about love, why would you even attempt to bash that? I mean, that is lame. It's to me. So, I use labels too here, like words that I try to use, that I attempt to use to describe something, and sometimes they seem to fall very short. It's like there isn't even a word for what that is. But it seems lame to try to be destructive to something that was beautiful and important to some people. Why? Stroking the ego? Is that what it is? It's like, oh, if I can say that, in this case, they use the word Satan had a victory over something. Whatever that means, whatever that even really is or isn't. Okay, with terminologies and programming, conditioning, and brainwashing, and it's manipulation. People are manipulated through programming, right? And then they attempt to manipulate others because they have insecurities. It's through fear, it's through weakness, it's through ego, it's through wanting to be right. Okay, so when they become judgmental, they step out of their box, out of their programmed, conditioned, limited, and limiting dogmatic box to look at what someone else is doing for the good and put it down. Let's slam. Let's slander. Let's bash. Let's say something nasty because it doesn't fall into our ideology of what something should be. Therefore, we're going to say it's wrong. We're going to say Satan has control over that person who was talking about love in church. Okay. So that is somebody posing as a Christian. They're wearing a badge in falseness. They're pretending to be a Christian who's judging other Christians. And they're condemning. And I often use the word judgment. So judgmental or condemning or falsely condemning because something didn't fall into their particular set of ideologies. Oh, remember? And they're not supposed to worship idols. And those types of ideas and ideologies are idols that they worship. And that they would love to continue to fight to defend, which is the devil working through them, if that's the ideology they choose to function in and believe, which they do. Okay, so when they want to talk about the devil, when they're fighting with each other and picking fights, if that ain't the devil, bro, what is? What the hell is? Don't stand there and hide behind religion and churches and ideologies and denominations and falsehood and disguise and masks and lies and bullshit and pretend that you're something while you're trying to knock your brother down. So this is just a talk about trying to get a deeper meaning of what judgment means or doesn't mean. Okay, because there's judgments all around, and there's different, I suppose, understandings or interpretations or misinterpretations of what that is. And it is important to be aware of that, because sometimes when we are shining a light on something or bringing awareness to something that's very important to our being and being on this planet, and a message or from a messenger or calling or something to where we want to say, okay, I observe this and this is what I think it means, and we get dialogue going and stuff like that. But so just because we are bringing awareness to something doesn't mean we have to be disrespectful or to try to be harmful to others. And so just because we are bringing into awareness to something, it doesn't necessarily make it a judgment in a bad way. Like talking about it, trying to understand it, doesn't mean that we're judging in a bad way. It's not necessarily judgmental or condemning. So, but when you want to say that on someone's extremely memorable and historical wedding day, that a preacher came from another country and gave a sermon of love, and someone wants to step in and try to say that Satan won a battle, that is imposing their stuckness and their darkness and their devilishness onto someone else, trying to. We don't have to accept that or allow that into our space, but it comes into our space, and then we have a response or a reaction, and we're entitled to that because we learn from it. We are entitled to learn, to continue to learn, and hopefully our perspectives will continue to change as we remain open to say, you know what, I don't like that behavior. That behavior doesn't serve me and it doesn't work for me. And I recognize what it is, and I recognize that I don't want to be around it, and I want to talk about it because I'm hoping my discussions will help people to learn from it. But, you know, I don't mean to be judging and saying anyone is totally wrong or right, because everyone has different perspectives. However, if we come here to learn to love one another, and we're not supposed to judge whatever that is, if and when we see it happening and we have a voice, should we use it? Kind of like Martin Luther King said. Because we're mirrors, and sometimes people don't realize what they're doing. Do you think that most of these, whatever denominations of religious people, do you think they realize what they're doing? It's groupthink, okay? It's manipulation. But do you think they even realize how horrible it seems to other people? And how it's not a very good representation of Jesus at all, by the way. Do you think they don't get that? It seems they don't get that. And that's why I do these videos, for awareness. Okay? So if we see someone being harmful or cruel, we can speak up. Doesn't make us wrong or right, but we can speak up. Indirectly, and in an energy of maintaining honor and respect for everyone and the collective. It's deep stuff sometimes. Peace.